Hey, mamas. I'm Kristen Noel, founder of the Intuitive Divorce, a coaching program that transforms the experience and outcomes for mothers navigating the process who want to divorce differently. I'm a divorce survivor who once stood where you stand and walked in your shoes. Nothing gives me more pleasure than to walk beside other women and help them avoid the unnecessary pitfalls and pain. I'm popping in here with my fabulous team member and boundary badass, wise and wonderfully talented coaching partner, Joe Young. We just finished a class in our inner coaching program, and this is where we regularly dive into the weeds of divorce. Aside from all the big feelings that arise, one thing I think that is surprising to most people is how long a divorce can drag out, how much it can cost, and I'm not talking about your bank account. A lot of life happens between court dates, filings, and phone calls with attorneys. And it's what happens in those moments that matters most and determine a lot. Of course, we want to save time, money, and heartache, but we also want to seize the opportunity to heal old wounds, break patterns, and be seen and heard, and acquire those tools that will forever change how we move through life. As we always say in this program, our divorce skills are life skills. Today's class is what we call office hours, which is really just code for workshop and one of my favorite classes. It's where mamas just show up and they share where they are and what they're currently struggling with. They are seen and heard, held, and a lot of reflection is felt. And I've got to say, it's incredibly moving to witness. We never know where it's going to lead, but it's always impactful in beautiful and sometimes surprising ways. So many topics have been coming up from our mamas. So we've jotted down a few because something tells me that you might likely relate. So this is probably a good place to start, Joe.
Yeah. So some of the topics that we talk about in office hours are everything from the pain of not recognizing the person that someone married. There's so many feelings and things to navigate in divorce. And oftentimes, to your point, Kristen, yes, there's all the legal stuff, there's all the financial stuff, there's all of that. And I think what gets discounted sometimes is a lot of the grief process that takes
Mm,
place. So there is pain in going, who is this person that I married? And
mhm.
where can I find grace with myself and learn how to step into all the things that are required to wrap your head around that and
Mhm.
to recognize yourself as a changed person from who you were on the day that you got
Yeah, I love that you're bringing that up because that is the sentiment that is shared so often. I don't even recognize this person. I can't believe I married him. I don't know. And I always take it back because really our work is not about the other person. Our work is about us and our journey. And the person that you don't recognize is you,
married.
because you are a changed person. You are a person that's seeing things that you didn't see or feeling things that you didn't allow yourself to feel or just stand in the truth of what you knew. And that is the person you don't recognize. So that's
Yeah.
the power, right? That's the power. And it's also like, I mean, today so much came up, but it's really, it's this sacred space where we refill and we recharge and we renew. I often send out these reminders the morning of class. And every once in a while, I'll get a quick little text or a message from a mama that's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it to class today. And of course, I know like this is life. We've got polls all over the place. I ended up like picking up the phone and calling this one mama because she was in the middle of going through something. And I just said to her, listen, I'm just like going to be your nudgy, fierce mama bear coach popping in here, not to guilt you, but just to remind you that life is busy. And I know like the to-do list is like, but I don't want you to always put yourself at the bottom of the list. Like if there's any way that you can plug into class today and show up to recharge your battery, you deserve that.
Yeah, it's so
That is,
interesting, isn't it? Because as women, as, wives, as mothers, as employees, we get so used to taking care of everybody else. So I love that reminder that
Hmm.
it's not that all of these things magically go away when you join this program, right? We can't make all the tasks go away that
Right.
someone's going to be involved with. But what we can do is say, don't forget you in the process and make
Mhm.
sure that you're treating yourself right now like your best friend because you're who needs you the most right now.
Well, and also so many of the women in our program, right, they identify as the fixers, the people pleasers, the ones that have to make peace for everyone, keep the peace, whatever it is. We control the world, right? And then everything's going to fall apart if we don't show up. Well, guess what? That starts with you. You're the foundation. You got to take care of you. If you want to be fixing things, you got to have the strength to fix.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally get it because this morning I woke up and I was really tired and I was like, oh, I got to do blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to go on my walk. And then I just like made my butt get outside with the dog and walk. I was tired. I hoofed up a hill, but I just realized like this was medicine. I needed that time to like just move and think and restore and give it to myself. And like everything fell into place. And if you don't get all 567,000 things done today, there's still tomorrow.
There's still tomorrow. That's right. And we can't give from a place of empty. So it's so important to have this space for people to come in and to refuel and to learn from each other and be inspired by each other and to share in all the things. I mean, it's everything from A to Z. And we talked a lot today about overgiving, people pleasing, all of that, and how to break out of some of those patterns. So,
And one thing I love that you're so good at pointing this out and reminding all of us, myself included, that we get so stuck in the stories we tell, of who we are in the family unit, who we are in the community, who we are in our professional lives. And we can get so stuck in there. And we really begin to believe this is our job. I'll get an example of a mother that's trying to keep peace between a father and a 26-year-old daughter. Well, that's nice that you're trying to do that, but these two grown ass people have to navigate that themselves. That you don't control them. So
that's
it's
right.
amazing as mothers what we take on, right?
Yeah.
So we were all over the map today, but there's just so much that comes up in the reflection, in the sharing, in the vulnerability. Some amazing stories. I mean, everyone in the group they're in different places, their children different ages, they're facing different complexities, but there's a lot of just really inspiring, and I don't want to overuse the term holding space, but that's really what it is. You know,
Yeah.
it is really holding the space to allow the mamas in the group to share where they're at, honestly, openly, non-judgmentally.
That's right. It really is a big piece of that. And also reminding them that how they've identified in the past,
Hmm.
all those roles that we've talked about, all those responsibilities, they've led you to where you are. And
Hmm.
so there's some beautiful gifts in all of that. But now you're ready to create a different future for yourself. So, how do you start to look towards reframing that identity, to moving into a new identity about what your future is going to look like?
Hmm.
And I love today, one of the things that we talked about, which I felt like was so important, and you did such a beautiful job coaching around, was there's so much fear about all the unknown that takes place during this time, and how our minds can go down a rabbit hole of fear and doubt and all the things, which is so normal. I really want people to hear that are listening to this. If you're in that space,
Hmm.
it is absolutely normal for you to be in that space. Fear is going to show up. And there's just so many little nuggets of things that we give to, we do this a lot to,
Oh, there was so much
to
humor in
take an
class today.
interruption and a
Right.
timeout on the fear and to go, what's the story you'd rather be telling? Right? What
Mm-hmm.
what can you do with that? And what's the story that you would rather be telling yourself? So there's just so much goodness. I mean, we
And
talk boundaries, right? We talk about
right.
nervous system regulation.
We talk about awareness. We talk
Yeah.
about awareness and being okay and not judging yourselves. Okay. Because, like, the bottom line is it starts with awareness. Because when we're aware of something that we're doing, or we're aware of something that is depleting us, or aware of something we don't want to do anymore, this is where we then can call in support for how do we interrupt this? How do we shift this story? How do we shift this narrative? And today we were laughing. We're laughing, we're crying. It's kind of all over that because that's what it is. That's what it is. This is not airy fairy woo woo. We care about the strategy. We care about getting you through your divorce as quickly as you possibly can in the best condition you possibly can, saving time, money, and heartache. But you know what? It is a super incredible opportunity to heal, break patterns, write a new chapter,
Yes.
recognize this new version of yourself.
It's so true. And I love the fact that, we brought some levity to some pretty heavy subjects today. And
Mhm,
it is what breaks it open so that there's the human element in all of it, right? And
mhm,
there's so many emotions going on around all of it. And it's important to get through all of this with a certain amount of levity because there's certainly enough depth as we don't need to tell anybody who's listening here. But I
laughter is medicine.
Laughter is medicine,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I just love the fact that we can help these women really step in and guide them to see all the options that are available
Mhm,
because so much of our thought and our actions and all of that is really a matter of choice. And we
mhm,
don't often get taught that or shown that. And so I love the fact that the women sharing with each other what their experiences have been, their heartaches, their celebrations. I mean, there's
mhm,
also lots of that going on as well. And I loved the challenge that we left them with today of what do you know about yourself now that you didn't know before?
mhm,
And it's so important to recognize what our celebrations are as we're navigating any kind of change, but certainly going through divorce and navigating children and all of the things that go with it. Really important to pay attention to the progress that
right,
happens from day one when
right,
awareness takes place.
right.
And then you step in and go, I'm ready to do something with that.
Which is so great because when you mentioned the D word, divorce, it's like everybody just sinks. It's like the room, the oxygen just comes out of the room, but we forget. We're so quick to bypass all the things we're doing right, all the little wins, all the places that we are stretching and growing. And you and I get to sit in that room and we see the transformation. We're witnessing this in real time. So I loved that you called that out today. I think it just really helps people get back into their bodies and remember, like, yeah, I got this. I've got this, and I'm going to figure a way through this. And I'm also allowed to laugh. I'm allowed to have fun. Divorce isn't a death sentence.
That's right. What do we say today? None of us are getting out of here alive. And so how do we make the most of the time that we're here? I mean,
Right.
we say that and we laugh about it, but it's actually the truth.
Hmm.
And so this is our precious life. So
Hmm.
how are we going to make the most of it? How are we going to take all of the I'm going to say traumas, be that big T, little t traumas, because we all have them. How are we going to take those and turn those into real life lessons and
Hmm.
opportunities? And because they become our greatest teachers and they become the pieces of us that we can transform into real magic, real beauty, real possibility. And so, yeah, class is filled with everything, as you can tell, from start to
I
finish.
love it. And well, and it's also and we're tough. We're like the biggest cheerleaders and we're going to squeeze you and love you and defend you, but we're also going to challenge you because this is where the growth happens, where we really just keep calling out where you're repeating a story, calling out where you're saying something that's no longer serving you. And the way that we get through this and we write that next chapter is we allow our intuition and our heart and our wisdom and all the beautiful pieces and parts and messy parts of ourselves to emerge and stop prepackaging. Stop like showing up in some way we think the world wants us to, because that's just not the way we're going to find the chapter we want, our happy ever after.
That's right. We each have to write our own story. And so
Mhm.
it's so important to tap into what each of us wants that story to be and how to move forward in that direction. And yeah, I love what you said. We do interrupt a lot. So lovingly interrupt because we need that interruption in our lives. We need somebody to go, wait, hold up a second here. The story, you're telling either isn't yours or it's one that
That's a
you
big one.
have just been telling yourself for way too long that simply isn't true. But what we
Right.
do know is that each and every person that walks into this group grows, learns, transforms, and finds themselves, their true self, which so many are longing for. And that's the piece that I love the most is really watching them step into their own unique selves because all of their answers lie within them. And so
Mhm.
we get to ask all the juicy questions and do all the support and provide the space for them to discover their own answers. And it's
We're
just
just the gardeners. We were
that's right.
saying today when we were looking at the screen with all the little mamas on that it just was like this beautiful flower garden because
Yeah.
everybody was just blossoming. And we're just the gardeners. We're the support staff, right? We're watering, hoeing, planting. Incredible, incredible class today. So glad we
Yeah.
were able to hop on, but that's it for today. But I want you to know that Joe and I are committed to popping in here each week, right after class, when all the wisdom nuggets are hot off the presses and ready to share. And let's get more active here together. If there's something that you're struggling with, leave it in the comment below, and maybe we can dive into your topic too. You can learn more about our work over at intuitivedivorce.com and make sure you're on our newsletter list, which you can also join from the website. We send out lots of great info each week that will guide you through your divorce, dealing with your kids, your money, your emotions, and best yet, your healing. And if you're ready, you can book a free strategy call with us. You don't have to do this alone, Mama.
That's right. We're here for you.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you, sister.
Another great class in the
Till next
books. Another
week.
great class in the books.